Good evening. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order tonight, Tuesday, January the 3rd, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Prayer will be by our Planning Director, Mr. Scott Ankerson, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be by Councilman Gilat. I ask that you silence all of your electronic devices at this time. Please stand.
Father God, we bow before you tonight. We give you honor. We give you praise. Thanks, God. We thank you for this holiday season we got to enjoy recently, God. We thank you for this new year that's upon us. We ask for your wisdom and your discernment as we traverse through this new year, God. Just give us the wisdom to make good decisions, to move this city forward, God, to make it a better place for its citizens. Lord, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, his sacrifice on Calvary's cross for our sins, and we ask all of this in his name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in dedicating the new year for the city of Gautier by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready?
Waiting on you.
Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Gilat, and thank you, Mr. Ankerson.
At least I can hear everybody out there this time.
Here's
You got some
making
hearing aids
sure.
for Christmas? Huh? You got some hearing aids for Christmas?
I don't need them.
Do we have any changes to the agenda, Ms. Yancey?
Yes, sir. I would just like it noted that the announcement while it's in the agenda is not on the agenda. So I have one announcement about the closure of City Hall for January the 16th, which is a state holiday.
Thank you, Ms. Yancey. Any other changes to the agenda or additions? All in favor? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman College, a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Gilat. All in favor? Councilman George? Motion carries. That brings us to the announcements. We just heard from Ms. Yancey that will be closed for a holiday on January the 16th. Correct, Ms. Yancey?
Correct.
Presentation agenda will be by our Gautier's Mayor Youth Council update by our President, Ciara Harvey, and our Vice President, Ms. Katie Jamison. If y'all would come up here, Ciara and Katie. Y'all want to move? Turn it so. Can y'all? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Ciara Harvey. I'm Gautier's Mayor's Youth Council President, and I have been a part of the program for 1 year.
My name is Katie Jamison. I'm the Vice President, and this is my second year on the council.
So far for our program, we have had concession stands for the Pee Wee football games and the softball games. Either 2 or 3 members come out and they support and sell the concession stands to the kids.
We've also hosted numerous cleanups in Martin Wolf Road, College Park Elementary, and Graveline.
And another thing that we had did recently was December 16th, we had a Gautier's movie night with ages 13 through 19. So the teenagers came out, we watched the movie. They had hot cocoa and popcorn. That was all free, and then snacks were sold as well.
And then we also have the hygiene. We hosted a hygiene drive where we put boxes out at all the schools and collected a bunch of products, and we divided those up between the
family.
Yeah, the adoptive family, Daily Bread, and the women's shelter, Adrian's house. That's what it's called.
So, an upcoming event that we have is the MML Youth Leadership Summit in February, and it's for like our community members, for our council members, for us to come. It's free admission as long as you have your community service hours, and it's just a way for us to learn about leadership and just hang out with each other. And it's statewide, so we can meet people and just learn and network.
And then we also plan on hosting Gautier Game Day again, because that was a huge success last year.
Yes, and we would also like to thank the city for helping us, and we really appreciate everything that y'all do for us.
Wonderful. Maybe y'all tell them where the youth summit's going to be at.
It's going to be in Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss.
Oh my God.
Y'all are going to have a great time. Ciara and Katie, we thank y'all for everything. They also help with many other things that they just sort of are always used to helping and volunteering, but they also help with lights and lanyards, and that was their concession stand to be able to raise money to do their events and all that. So any donations that anybody wants to make to the Mayor's Youth Council for their trips or their functions, you're more than welcome to make a donation, because they are a great group and they really try to promote all of the youth in our community to do youth gatherings. So thank y'all for all y'all do. Do y'all want to say anything else, Councilman? And also, we want to thank our city manager, Ms. Yancey, for allowing a city staff person to be the sponsor for the Mayor's Youth Council, because to have a Mayor's Youth Council, you have to have a sponsor, and it's got to be someone within the city. And Ms. Yancey was able to work that in when she came to the city, so we appreciate her working that into somebody's job description. So we thank you. You have wonderful leaders between April and Emily and Samuel, and Miss Shanda helps y'all, everybody, but y'all do a great job, so thank you.
Thank y'all.
Okay. Does any of the other council want to make any comments to the youth council?
Y'all just remember, we want y'all up here when you get of age.
Don't leave the state.
Don't leave, stay here.
And Ciara, make sure your mother takes you on one of her traveling
We're
trips.
most definitely traveling.
Okay.
That's your traveling buddy.
That brings us to our business agenda. Number one, authorization to increase the contract amount between Butler Snow LLP and the City of Gautier for redistricting services by $15,000, giving the new total amount of $50,000 by our city manager, Ms. Paula Yancey.
Yes, Mayor, the contract that you entered into did not have a cap within the contract. The actual cap was placed by the resolution saying not to exceed $35,000. The redistricting took a little more time than what we had anticipated, and I did not realize that we have to have legal descriptions comprised for each of the new wards, and that resulted in additional cost. So we're not really amending the contract, we're just amending your resolution to allow the cap to go up by $15,000.
Thank you, Ms. Yancey. Do we have any citizen public comments? If we do, stand up at the podium, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Anthony Snow, 2205 Highland Drive. Ms. Paula, you may have just answered it and I just misunderstood it. What did you say about the not to exceed from before the 35?
So it's been a year ago when we hired them. The contract does not have a cap in it.
It did not have?
It did not.
Okay.
But when the council adopted the resolution, they placed a not to exceed of $35,000 on it. So the contract allows for more, but the resolution of council capped it at 35. And since council controls the budget, council has to up the cap even though it wasn't in the contract. So that is why I brought it back. And plus, I did not realize that we had to have legal descriptions of the wards. So that's going to result in an additional cost. The $35,000 was just for your basic, I have trouble saying that word, demographer
Yeah.
and the legal part.
Okay, I totally understand, that makes sense. And I understand that the legal description wasn't there. What I was confused about is that if we went into a but you said it wasn't in the contract. So typically, if it's in the contract, a contractor can't just come back and say it went over and come to the board and just ask for more money when we already said not to exceed, correct? Cannot do that, I'm saying.
It depends. If it's an hourly, if the contract was based on an hourly basis, and it had a not to exceed $35,000, they could, since it's a professional services, they could come back and ask for a contract amendment. This contract didn't have a cap. The council put that $35,000 in there because that was the budgeted amount.
Makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. Any other citizen comments? No other citizen comments. Do we have a motion by council to increase the contract amount between Butler Snow LLP and City of Gautier for redistricting services by $15,000, given the new total of $50,000?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman College. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Gilat. Any discussion, starting with Councilman George?
No comment.
Councilman Jackson?
Yeah, that was actually what I was gonna ask about. He just started beating me to the punch. Cause I was concerned about that, cause it's a $15,000 growth. I mean, $15,000 more, on his contract. And I was trying to understand why was it added 15,000? And because it didn't show any services that showed extra 15,000.
Yes, your contract had services in it, and it had no cap. It said you would be billed on an hourly basis. So your contract didn't have a cap on it at all.
Okay.
Your resolution, when you adopted the contract,
Right.
asked that it not exceed 35,000. Well, because you have to have these additional services, a legal description for an entire ward is a pretty big deal. So your services based on the hourly basis that your contract approved are going
It
to cost.
exceed the hours.
Right.
I got you.
That's why.
No further, no more questions.
Councilman Gilat?
No, no comment.
Councilman College?
I mean, just to clarify, this is not like a bid contract. This is a contract for professional services, and we did set a limit on there based on an hourly rate. Those items do need to be addressed. Sometimes they come in less, sometimes they come in more, and this seems to be one of those circumstances. I'm sure this $15,000 is budgeted somewhere in this fiscal year's budget, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Anderson?
Did Butler Snow not inform us up front that we would be responsible for the legal descriptions being done after they were through?
No, sir, here's how it went. I called and asked them, because I knew we were going to have to redistrict. And this was in last budget, not this budget year, last budget. And I called and asked him how much. And he threw out a number at 35,000, and that's what I told Teresa to put it in the budget. That's before you ever hired him. When you hired him, the contract didn't have to cap in it. And it had all these services he was going to provide in an hourly rate, which is standard for an attorney.
And the legal descriptions wasn't in there?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
It was, but
Okay.
Hourly.
I did not realize it was going to be legal descriptions for the entire, like, your whole new board. So, really, the demographer, I kind of anticipated, and the legal services, but I just didn't realize the gravity of the legal descriptions. He didn't realize because he just got the contract back, so he didn't realize your resolution asked him not to exceed $35,000. So that's why we ended up where we were. He didn't know to tell me it was going over, because his contract didn't have a cap in it.
They do this for a lot of cities. I don't understand why they're not
Because
up.
nobody else put a cap on, they just hire them on an hourly rate and go with it.
Was the entire 15,000 increase, which is a pretty good increase from the 35, was that entirely for the drawing the boards up
Entirely for the
legally?
redistricting.
Legal description was the entire 15,000?
That's
For the whole,
applied for a whole thing
bill.
over.
Like for coming up with the
Okay.
different maps, meeting with each of us individually and all that stuff.
But at
So
least over a third of it is from the
We seem to run into that a lot with amendments and overages. Everything we do is an overage on it, seems like, with amendments. That's all I got.
Councilman Elvin?
No comment. One question.
Go ahead, Councilman Gilat.
When did this new zone districts go into effect?
Did already,
He told me to publish the ordinance, which we published it. So I'm assuming it's 30 days after that. You had to get section 5 approval, but you don't have to anymore, I don't believe. So
No, you
I think-
don't.
So I think it goes into effect
Now?
30 days after the ordinance is passed. So it would be effective the next election.
You just said something, the next election. Do we have to revise the ordinance and pass that? I'm confused.
You did.
We did it already,
Yes.
but it don't go in effect till the next election? Or is it in effect now?
It'll be in effect 30 days from the day you passed it, assuming the publication occurred. It just doesn't
When is that
matter
date?
until the next election.
Well, no, it does, because
You
now
keep
his
saying-
Ward 3 is
You
now
keep
completely
saying the
different,
next
so.
election. I'm confused.
He told us at the meeting it went into effect right after it published.
The ordinance.
30 days from
Let me try this. Your ward is now comprised as 30 days after it's published, as what it was published as.
Right.
But you don't have to rerun until.
I understand that. I understand that.
He's trying to figure out so
I got
citizens will
people
know.
calling me saying, hey, I'm in your ward now.
I tell you what, I think it comes.
And the people that's
30 days after, but I.
Losing out of my ward, they still calling me too.
Well,
So it's confusion with the public,
okay.
Here's
I
what-
will
and it's
find out.
confusing with me.
Here's what I'm confused
I'm
about.
confused.
75% of my paving money is going in your ward now.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's great for
I ain't got a problem with
That happened
that.
to me.
you. It's great for you, yeah.
I ain't got a
Happened to me when I
problem
did the
with
whole
that.
Boys Road area.
Well,
I'm
not
gonna have
really.
them taken off my paving list.
Councilman Lott, I'll double check with him to make sure I told you correctly. I think it's 30 days after the.
30 days after the ordinance is published.
Yes, sir.
Goes into effect.
Yes, sir.
And that hasn't happened yet?
I think it's 30 days.
It was published.
It was approved, assuming you published within that time frame.
What?
I don't know.
Does anybody know if the ordinance been published?
Wasn't it?
Oh, it has been
Yeah.
published. It's been 30. It's been 30.
Okay, so it's in effect now.
Yeah, but I'll double check.
No, that's fine.
And can we do just an update and just do the new map and put it out there on social media so it is known if you look at the new maps? It won't confuse them more because like you said, people are calling, but also Councilman Anderson needs to relook at his paving list because like he just said, it will affect, and we've not voted on what we're sending to the county.
Yeah, we did.
I only put in 3 streets from the old Ward 3. Now, if there's streets you put in Ward 4 that are now in Ward 3, sorry. You still wanted them streets paved if they would still been in Ward 4.
I'm just pulling your string, Gordon.
You can pull my string all you want, I'm glad of it.
It's not gonna work, he said, Councilman Anderson.
It's 30 days from approval. So
Okay.
if it's been published, which it has.
It's
So
been-
now people that live in Northwood Hills, I can direct them to Gordon Gillott?
Yes.
You got them, buddy.
And people who live in South Gautier is now in Ward 3, not Ward 1.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Did anybody? All in favor? What was your question?
So, if Russ don't have Hickory Hill, where your was, you still don't have Westgate?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
He don't have Northwood Hills any
He don't have
longer.
Northwood Hills anymore.
Nor does he have
Ward 3.
part of Townsend, Joe Bath, and that area,
And
Shamrock,
Rolling Meadows.
Rolling Meadows.
He has all that.
So we have a motion by Councilman College, a second by Councilman George. All in favor?
Gordon Gillott, huh?
Yeah, Gordon Gillott, sorry. All in favor? Councilman Gillott? I mean George?
Yay.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to our approval of docket of claims. The staff has already emailed them. They're on the public website for the public to review. And we thank our city clerk and comptroller, Ms. Montgomery, for doing that. So that is our staff presentation. And do we have any public comments on the docket of claims? None. Do we have a motion to approve the docket of claims?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Gillott. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman College. All in favor? Councilman George? Motion carries. That brings us to our consent agenda. All items approved in one motion unless one wants to be pulled for discussion. One is approval of the minutes from the recess council meeting held on December the 20th, 2022. And second, authorization to approve a City of Gautier grant policy and procedures document.
I have one question on the grants and policy procedures.
Do you want to pull it?
So we'll pull it, yeah.
Councilman College is going to pull number 2. Do we have a motion to approve number 1? Approval of the minutes from recess council meeting held December the 20th, 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Gilat. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman College. All in favor? Councilman George? Motion carries. That brings us to consent number 2, authorization to approve a City of Gautier grant policy and procedures document by Ms. April Stennett.
Well, just a question. What's your question?
Oh, here it is. For the application process, I know we got some items, if it was under like $15,000 for a match and stuff like that. I just had on the grant policies procedures, 2.3 application process, section E, mayor, city manager signature. In time-sensitive cases, to meet a grant application or grant agreement deadline where the next city council meeting is after the grantor's deadline, the mayor, city manager has authority to sign grant applications. I know a lot of times we're doing last-minute grant applications. Is there any thought on maybe setting a limit on what those grants should be, or that was just my one concern, because then we don't get council approval on it, we'd have to do it pro non-tunc.
Well, just where that would come in is if you got the grant, you have to accept it. So just because we applied for it doesn't mean.
Yeah, okay.
And that is specifically prohibited in the grant policy where if you have to accept it, if it's awarded, we could not sign that grant application. We would have to come before then.
Okay. All right, that was my only question right there. So.
And then also, just to clarify, so the citizens know, this is just a document for the city that we have not had in years, and we've been having to provide multiple various documents from the audit, et cetera, from the comptroller to be able to apply for grants when they ask if we have procedures. So this would just be an easier process to upload one document for us to show them how we manage our grants and apply for them. So.
Yeah, it was a great document, by the way. That was the only question I had.
Explain it to everybody so you know why we're getting the document and why it's needed.
So based on that, I'll make a motion that we authorize to approve the City of Gautier grant policy and procedure document.
We have a motion by Councilman College. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Gilat. Any discussion? Starting with Councilman George.
No comment.
Councilman Jackson.
No comment.
Councilman Gilat.
No comment.
Councilman College.
I'm good.
Councilman Anderson.
No.
Councilman Elbin.
No comment.
Thank you for your hard work working with Teresa and our city manager for y'all getting it together. We have a motion by Councilman College, a second by Councilman Gilat. All in favor? Motion carries. Councilman George?
Yeah.
Motion carries. That brings us to our citizen comments. We approve all citizen comments. Any citizen comments?
We approve all
Study
citizen.
agenda.
Come to the front, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
The readers of Gautier, my name is Bradford A. Asbury. I live at 8605 Pinecone Drive, up there in Hickory Hills. I've been living in that house there since 1994 as a member of this community. I am here because I really believe with all my heart that the Mississippi Wind Underwriting Association is out of control. Recently,
He just amen.
Okay. That's a good answer to your question.
Go ahead, Mr.
No,
Ashby.
praise God. Okay. Anyway, I've lived here for all of these years, and I have never gone through this kind of stress. I have given each one of you a copy of the letter I received from the Mississippi Windstorm Underwriting Association, and I was under the impression that this was under control of the governor, and they answered to the governor and the governor's representatives for insurance. Now, once again, when I contacted my representative, Councilman Dante Eldon, he was not aware of the issues. Up there in Hickory Hills, there are many of us senior citizens. Once again, I am 76 years old, I am a veteran, and they passed me a letter, took a picture of a tree, an oak tree, above my house, and told me to go cut it down. And an oak tree is in my neighbor's yard. Okay? So, when I started to call the contractors, who does this as a profession, because this oak tree has branches this big around, I cannot touch that oak tree. It must be taken down professionally with a team, with a bucket, section at a time. Anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500 according to what they gave me as an estimate. So I'm going to approach my neighbor and ask her if I can cut down the tree. I don't think she's going to be happy about that. But either way, this is an exorbitant price they are charging a senior citizen who I don't have it in my budget. That's number one. Number two, this incident was told to me by all of the contractors that came in view. They said, you can't cut down an oak tree. That's protected by the city council.
It's a live oak?
Yes. That's why I sent you guys pictures. You can't cut down this oak tree because it's protected by the city, which means this organization is arbitrarily and capriciously going around and taking pictures and telling people to cut it down. And if you look at the document, there's no standard laid out by the state of Mississippi. Cut it down within what? 2 feet of the roof? 3 feet of the house? How much? How much should I cut? There's no direction whatsoever. They are out of control. So that's why I chose to take the advice of my leader, Dante Eldon, and approach this leadership group. I really feel we need help. What I have asked him to do is get facts and data. I was not aware I was supposed to go through this beautiful young lady and this gentleman over here first, so I just delivered it tonight. Anyway, what I'm looking for is facts and data. How many people in Hickory Hills are being affected by this who are over 65 years old living on Social Security and cannot afford it? They are saying if I don't do it by this date or get an extension, they're going to take me out of the wind pool and I'll have no wind coverage as a senior citizen. When I went to Allstate, they said, we have no control of them. You need to contact the representative that works for the governor to find out what the standards are for cutting down these oak trees, which ain't without permission of this beautiful council.
Mr. Asbury.
Yes, sir.
We individually are responsible for going out and looking at trees that are protected, that need to be cut down.
Yes, sir.
And we individually have to give our permission to cut a tree down if it's a live oak or a magnolia above a certain size. So if you were in my ward, I would say, you're not cutting that live oak tree down. If the state wants to come cut it down, let them come cut it down, but I would not give you permission to cut it down.
Well, that was one of the reasons I brought him here tonight, because it's not going to be an issue just for my ward. It's going to be an issue
For anybody that's in the wind pool.
So, well, he's got a deadline to cut these trees down, but he's still got a permitting issue with the city.
Now, you could trim some limbs.
Well, and Mr. Ashbury, a prime example is we have had this happen before, where the wind pool, and it's not just the wind pool sending these letters. Insurance companies individually send them. Even if you're not in the wind pool, you could get a letter similar to this from your insurance carrier. Basically, they go around and their thing is to protect your roof, is what they're basically doing, to make sure nothing is going to fall on your roof, to help them not have a claim, is basically what they're doing. But we at the city have a policy on our protected trees where we do allow protected trees to be cut down. We do allow protected trees to be trimmed, because if you have a real live oak protected tree, you should be trimming the protective live oak tree to keep it healthy, sturdy, and everything. As you've seen going into the city to our east, you just recently seen them hire a company to trim all the live oaks to keep them looking healthy and not overgrown and not sagging. So basically, though, our process on a protected tree coverage is you fill out a form, a permitting process here at the planning department with the planning director and his staff. It depends on whose ward it's in. If it's in Councilman Galott's ward, Councilman Albin's approved them before. There's a reason you request it. In your case, you could attach all this to your request. Councilman Elbin, the city would go out there and take their own pictures, send him an email for his approval, and then he would go out there and either approve it or deny it. If he denies it, the next process is for you to come before the council. And then the council would have to vote on it if he was to deny it. And that's how it's handled on the city side for a protected tree. We only have two. It's a live oak and a southern magnolia.
And that's based on state mandate
And
for
that's-
protected trees.
Right.
Well, I got a question for the city attorney. If it's not his tree, how can we permit it to be cut?
You can permit it, well, he doesn't require a permit to trim it as it overhangs his property line.
Right,
On a lot
but
it does.
he's talking, what about another incident where you have somebody, say not in Hickory Hill, but has to cut a whole tree down based on the criteria the state's given us, or the insurance company? So at that point, that person's given a deadline, but it's not his tree, and it's not his responsibility to pay out of pocket to cut it. So where does he go from that point? Is that the insurance commissioner, Mike Cheney, or where does he go?
You're asking where does he go with this letter?
Right, if he can't afford it, and which I'm sure there's gonna be residents that can't afford it, and they're being told that you're gonna cut this tree or we're gonna drop your insurance. So where do they go from there?
I don't know. I mean, I actually had this occurred to me personally, and it was, we just trimmed it, took pictures, and they withdrew the exemption. But I don't think we can permit an adjacent landowner to cut down trees on another person's property.
But they can trim it legally,
but
but can't cut it.
he can trim it to the extent it overhangs his property. And that doesn't require council approval, the trimming of a protected tree, just the cutting down of a protected tree.
Now, Mr. Ashburn, have you called Michael Hillman? That was in this number?
Oh, I was straight to the office. That's why they
Okay.
down in the.
Well, he should be able to provide you the guidance on how much, because reading on this letter, it sounds like it's just the limbs over the house that need to be removed.
Yes, sir.
And if that's the case, then you have riparian rights from your property line straight up north to be able to take those limbs down.
Yes, sir. I do. And that's exactly what they explained to me, except I found out what the cost was. And what I was explaining is all four contractors said the same thing that have come to my house, that this thing is widespread all over the coast. They have already dropped a lot of senior citizens from the wind pool because they couldn't afford it, they didn't do it on time, and there are a lot of senior citizens, and then the light bulb went off. How about up there in Hickory Hills where I live? How many people are being affected by this kind of letter being sent out that you guys didn't know about? Well, a couple of them do, but most of you guys did not know about.
If you ask your insurance company, do they know the difference between a live oak tree and a water oak or a scrub oak or any other kind of oak?
No, sir.
Got nothing to do
I've been
with
through every
Russell.
hurricane on this coast since 1965, and I've never seen a live oak fall from a hurricane. I
Protects my house.
have seen a few limbs fall out of them if they were rotten and diseased. Is this tree healthy?
This tree is, okay, let me see if I can explain this because you don't see the other side of the picture where the dividing line is, okay? The previous owner, the lady who lives there now just bought the house. The previous owner went and hired a contractor, and I got pictures of this, sent it to at the time it was done by the professional. They cut the whole south end of this exact same tree. All the weight of this tree is hanging on my side. I just want to share with you. I don't know what y'all gave them the permission to do it, but they did it before they sold the house. So, bottom line, the tree limbs have to be removed. And I'm saying, yes, I agree 100%. I can't afford it. How many other people have arbitrarily and capriciously got these letters just in our neighborhood, not on the rest of Gautier, but just in our neighborhood, who are in the same position as I am as a senior citizen? That's why I'm here.
And the insurance is not just sending these to the Gulf Coast, just so you know that. My grandmother has a home in central Mississippi and has received one of these before. There's people who receive these statewide because this is a statewide insurance pool, just like Nationwide or State Farm or Allstate or Safeco or all these insurances insure for the whole state, not just the coastal county. And they have the same regulations for the whole state. The insurance commissioner regulates the insurance.
Yes, sir, and I understand that.
So have you contacted the insurance commissioner's office?
Oh, no, we got that next. That's what I was planning to do. Well, I wanted to talk to my local leaders first.
He's in Russia.
To make sure.
I saw it on his Facebook post yesterday.
Oh, good grief. Anyway, I wanted to address this council first to make sure I have all my ducks in a row based on the information I got from my representative to keep you guys educated of what's going on. How many of our citizens in this country, in this city, is being affected by these letters that went out just this December?
I can tell you, everybody who's insured in today's world, if they have a tree over their house, they're getting a letter, no matter if it's from the wind pool, Allstate, State Farm, Nationwide, Safeco, anybody who is insured in the state of Mississippi, Gautier, anywhere, is getting a letter. Not just you, not just senior citizens, everybody. Because every insurance company, it's just the same thing if you have a swimming pool. They want you to have it fenced in. If you don't have it fenced in, they will cancel your insurance policy.
Yes, sir.
It's the same. So
They don't want to do the payouts.
They don't want to do the
That's what they
payouts.
told me at the insurance company. It's about the money, not about what's going to happen to us citizens who can't afford this thing. So that's why I was asking if we could collect facts and data on how many are really being affected in our neighborhood. That's why I was here tonight, Your Honor.
Mayor, can I add something?
Yes.
To answer Councilman Alvin's question, the next place to go if you have an issue with this letter, I would assume is the board of directors for the Mississippi Windstorm Pool. So they have a board of directors, they have meetings like we have here. If you wanted to address that in a public forum, you could bring that up to them.
Up in Jackson?
Yes, sir.
I can barely drive here. I'll be honest,
Well, you could reach them by phone, like you can reach us by phone. You can reach them by phone up there.
Okay, well,
And they also have email.
My representative was wondering if you guys would reach them for us and say, we got a problem in our neighborhood because of the senior citizens or the arbitrary requirement, because none of the insurance companies are actually saying this far and no more and this height. They're all different. Every one of us is different from what the contractors were informing you.
And Mr. Ashby, we all go to Jackson, elected officials at our choice. And anybody, all of us can go up there and talk about them about issues or ask them questions.
Okay.
And we can all call them elected officials on a state level. So anybody is more than welcome to call and ask them any questions.
Can I say something that may be helpful? If I'm not mistaken, go Google and figure out who's on the board of directors, and I'm almost positive some of them live in Jackson County or on the coast, and I would get their number and call them. They are usually pretty willing to help, if something similar happened to me. So it's worth a try. If I can remember who I called, by the end of this meeting, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Actually, what you could do.
That's the feedback I'm looking for.
Ms. Yancey,
What's
is
my next step?
email Councilman Elvin when you recall who it is, and he can forward it to Mr. Ashbury.
And then also, Mr.
I
Ashbury,
can't think of it at the back moment, but
I mean,
I'll
Been there, t-shirt to show it.
and just so you know, Mr. Ashbury, any of us can call any of our state delegation at any time, and our state delegation is open to hear from the constituents that represent them. So the insurance commissioner is elected by all constituents, and he does have people in place to take calls and complaints. He also is available for us to call and leave a message and him to call us back. And they will call you back if you call.
Praise God. So my last question is, once again, to confirm, that insurance commissioner in Jackson, once again, this Mississippi Windstorm Association answers to him.
Yes. That is who they answer to. Yes, sir.
That's it, that's all I had. Thank you
Okay.
for my extended 3 minutes.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
And when we're in Jackson next week, we'll have you fresh on our memory to talk about it and ask questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. That brings us, and some of us will be there at the end of the week. Any other citizen comments? Mr. Stubbs?
And Claude Stubbs, 2501 Bayou Bend Road, Gautier. Couple things. Number one, I'd like to ask Gautier's finest to on the weekends, if you could ride by the car wash after midnight to see if you could subdue the music. Sometime Friday, Saturday night, 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a bass in my bedroom. Stuff from the car wash. The other thing is, at one time, I guess a few months ago, they had an initiative about a tag for the city of Gautier. And I was wondering, where did that go? Did it stop, or is it in progress, or on the move?
It's on the move. You're talking about the tag that the school is handling it, the athletic department, Mr. Story, and he is responsible. They do not have, they need people to commit to that initiative, and that is an initiative they have partnered with the Jackson County Chamber on. So they are needing people to pre-commit to buying a car tag. I do not know what the number is. I think he said the deadline was April. I'll follow up with Mr. Story tomorrow and we can get you an update.
Okay.
But the initiative is still going on, and it is through the athletic department at Gautier High School. Mr. Story is the point of contact on that.
You have to get so many people to buy to commit to buy them, and then they'll make them.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know at the end of the year, I asked at the last function, and we did not have enough yet, so. Next.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Charles Moore. I live at 1920 Westgate Parkway, Gautier, Mississippi. In our neighborhood, kids were playing basketball on the side street, and they said the police all come and said they got to remove the goals. So what can y'all do to help that out? If the kids need somewhere to play, but if they don't move their goals off the side street, so what can they do?
Is it on the Westgate Parkway itself?
No, it's on the side.
I don't think they can leave it there permanently. I think they can pull it out in place as long as they're not obstructing traffic, but afterwards they've got to pull it out the city right away and have it on the driveway. So if it's one that's on the rollers and so forth, it's just pulling it off there.
It was off he have it off the street, but it's, hanging out on the, a little bit.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit further off. It's just more a safety factor for our first responders and everything.
Councilman Hodge, I think we should ask the city manager and planning department, because we just had this incident where our ordinances state it's not allowed, and they were asking people to move them.
And they're out of their yard?
That if they're on the roadway,
Yeah.
If they're on the side.
yeah, on the side street, if it's one of those portable goals,
Right.
we had this happen where the lady had to move it and she's on a dead end road.
It's in the right of way.
Right, if it's by the road.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I mean, so long as it's not there permanently, if they're gonna go out and play, they're not obstructing traffic, then they can pull it just as long as when they're done, they move it back towards the house, outside the property.
Yeah, move it 7 feet off the pavement, and that should be out of the right of way.
Is that correct, Ms. Yancey and Mr. Ankerson and Mr. Bevers? That's how we're addressing it?
Yeah, we usually don't involve unless it's in the roadway or if a neighbor complained about it.
As far as the planning ordinance is concerned, Councilman Collins is correct. It just has to be pulled back up. It can be out there to use, but it has to be brought back up.
It's in the street.
Can't be left out there.
They're having fun.
If it's pulled up just out of the right of way?
I'm not in a through street. It's another thing.
Okay. Can we let the citizen know that complaint down in South Gautier? I'll get her name because she just recently called really upset still that we made her move it and told them not to play in the roadway anymore. Okay, any other citizen comments? That brings us to our council comments with Councilman George. Councilman George, any comments?
Sorry, I was having issues with my phone. No comment other than Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Jackson?
Yes. Do we have any updates on the lights that Mr. Snow was addressing? All the lights, is the ones that's missing?
Yes, sir, Ramona emailed out an update to the council and to Mr. Snow. She's had to go behind and look at all the lights.
We're having some circuit issues. They'll all be lit at one point, and then we'll get wind, rain come through, and the next thing you know, they're all out. And then I had a week go by where I had all of them on this side of Dolphin. When you turn off them to 90, they were all on. Then we had the rain, and they all went off. Well, tonight when I came by, most of them are on. There's only a couple off. So I'm working to see exactly what's going on with the circuit breakers and the circuits on that.
That's the same thing that happened up at those Cobra mass lights, and water was getting into, I don't know if you may remember the name of it.
Yeah, the junction box down there.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I had a street light that's doing in my other property. It's doing the same thing. It's off and on, so I know what you mean now.
And then I have Powell working to give us a quote to get the control boxes and the loop for the traffic lights on Gautier Bank for the high school.
Okay. Sounds good. And I guess the last thing I have is we might need to figure something out about speed bumps, like in the neighborhoods. I know it's difficult, you know, but it's not gonna be a police thing. It's gonna be hard for them to catch them, you know, because it's a sporadic thing. It's like they do it instantly, then they slow down. So it's something that we could just throw on the police department to try to catch, because it's gonna be hard to catch.
What?
Like they speeding through the neighborhood. Like, and I'm still getting people calling me and they saying they're speeding right through the neighborhood.
That's every street in town.
The ones that we've put speed bumps on, they're still calling, complaining because they speed over the speed bumps.
Where they speed between the speed bumps.
Right. That means it's that.
A big one in front of my house.
Or they're catching up speed, they slow down, but they speed up between the next speed bumps.
But so, you know, I've been in other cities and I've went to a lot of different areas to just kind of survey it myself to see what, how their speed bumps are designed and things like that. And I see that they have speed bumps, you know, so I think that it'd be a good investment. Of course, we can work around what the insurance is requiring and things like that, or find a way to work around it where the insurance is requiring, because there's definitely a need for speed bumps in certain areas in the city. It's a definite need. We put the strips down. The strips, of course, you know, they rumble strips, you know, of course. So it doesn't really just make a noise for them when they pass over. But at the same time, you know, you got children playing, you know, people walking up and down the street, and then you got somebody flying up and down the street, you know, just throughout the neighborhood. Not just on Ladner or something. This is in the neighborhood, you know. So you always got one or two. I don't know what they're trying to prove. They're not late for work or nothing like that. They're just trying to push the gas. And, you know, I just think we need to think about that before an incident happens, you know. I just want to put that on our mind. And I have no further comments.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman, go.
I was in the city in Guatemala one time and they had 2-foot speed bumps. Those kind of around here. They didn't have no red lights. They didn't need any. I don't have any comments.
Councilman College.
Yes, I think we're about due or overdue for another update from our engineer for Martin Bluff Road widening project. I request that we have Jeff May come give a presentation and an update on where we stand on that project and where their anticipated completion date is. If we can do that the first meeting of February, that would be fantastic. And just Happy New Year, and that's all the comments I have.
Thank you, Councilman College. Councilman Anderson?
Yes, talking about the Martin Bluff Road project, we do need their completion date, or do we even have a projected completion date for them?
Our latest progress estimate from them came in December, and it was first quarter of 2024. It looked about midway through January based on that progress estimate.
Wait a minute, January 2024?
Yes, sir.
They should be finished?
Yes, sir.
One backhoe out there digging up that road bed to put a base down, it's right there going. They won't never make it by January 2024.
Well, I mean, I wonder if that's even their contract completion date without going into liquidated damages beginning in January based on rain days. I mean, they had the 2.5 months of dry weather and didn't
work. And when it started raining, they went trying to work.
Yeah, so that's where I want our engineer to come in and tell us how many rain days are in that contract per MDOT specification requirements and what their construction administrator has documented, and see where they actually are in relation to where their scheduled completion is compared to where their contract completion is to be. Because I'm all in favor of, if they go after that, we're going to hit them with liquidated damages.
Well, they're going to walk off of what they're going to do, and they can be done now.
Anything else, Councilman Anderson?
Yes, talking about the redistricting, when we started talking about, excuse me, when we started talking about the redistricting, I was told that whatever lines and whatever geographical thing they come up with, it wouldn't go into effect until the next election. I can't remember who told me that, but I was told that it wouldn't go into effect until our term was up.
I told you that.
And now I'm hearing that in a couple of weeks, or now already, that these new areas is not in my ward anymore. That means I don't have a planning commissioner in my ward anymore. Gordon's probably got 2 now. Oh, he got 2, and probably 3 because he took in a lot of Cameron George in Ward 1.
Well, if he's 3, one's got to resign, but you can't have more than 2 from one ward.
He don't have one from Ward 1.
Yeah, I don't.
And now you got 3?
I don't know.
Well, I don't need
I
know I don't have one.
I will talk to Tommy Carter, and I will ask him all of this stuff.
Are they going to stay in their position for the area they...
I will ask him.
How would that work? Yeah, we need to know how that's going to work.
The same thing happened in 2012 when they redistricted it. It went into effect immediately, and like you said, road paving. I had all Roy's Road area in there, and it was all of a sudden in Ward 3 there, Ward 4. I went to Ward 4, and I was like, well, I want that paving right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we need to find out and address. That's all I got.
Okay. Councilman Elvin?
First, I'd like to thank city workers, public safety, your water, fire department for all the work you do. Couldn't do it without you. Mr. Asbury, I'd like to thank you and your wife for taking this forum to address us and let us know that there's a problem in the community. And just taking the time to come down here. A lot of times we tell people, this is your council. Come talk to us. Tell us what your problem is. Well, you did, and I want to thank you for coming down here and explaining so eloquently the issues you're having, and I'm sure other residents are having as well, and hopefully we can get you some resolution somewhat. That's all I have.
And I like the way you talk. I didn't even need my hearing aids tonight.
That's old school military.
There you go.
You got it.
You got that right.
I just want to wish the staff a happy new year and thank you all for your hard work, the ones who had to work on your holiday. There was several of you, some directors, we had to respond to citizen complaints that we had and issues, and y'all did a great job responding. Thank, you know, the directors who had to work, and you know the ones that had to respond. So please thank, I thank you, and you please thank all your staff who were there to make that happen. I also want to thank Public Works for responding, Clearwater Solutions employees that were out there in the cold trying to keep us safe and keep things going. But also I want to thank Waste Pro back there for diligently making sure our services were picked up after the Jolly Red Santa came. I know y'all had a lot to pick up from Santa's, what he left for everybody, but thank you all too for that. Also, I just want to remind everybody, the legislatures will be going back into session, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and our governor and all of our state officials in Jackson as they work for our communities. We will be traveling, some board members in the Shanty, our city attorney, our judge will be there in Jackson, and we will be working for you all throughout the term when they're in session at different times, but especially this coming week, next week for the Municipal League Conference. So we ask that you pray for safe travels for us, and that we do the best for you all. And Mr. Ashbury, thank you. You came at the perfect time, so we'll be able to have that on our forefront when we're meeting with our delegation up there. Also, our new judges were sworn in today. If you see them, congratulate them on a district level. They were sworn in, and today was their and some of their staff's first day. So thank them if you see them around the community. Also, I just want to recognize and thank our nonprofit organizations. If you see them, thank them for their contributions, and our youth and our community. As you heard from our youth council tonight, if you feel the need to give to any of those organizations, they all have fundraisers throughout the year, and I ask that you consider sponsoring all of them, from the football to the cheerleaders, to the softball, to the soccer, to the basketball, to the volleyball, to the, you name it. Get involved with our school district and our community. I ask that you do that. Also, our new businesses, we welcome them. If you've not been to our latest business that opened, the pastry shop, they are doing great, and they've just, not only can you get pastries, but we had a businessman host some people, and they made homemade bread. So you can go to our pastry shop in Gautier here. You don't have to go to Harrison County anymore to get fresh baked bread. You can get it right here in Gautier, Mississippi at Founding Fathers at the old Mitchell building on Highway 90. I encourage you to go there. Also, thank you, Samuel, for our post. We're asking for positive comments on our social media. So I ask you to go and say something positive. Let's stay positive, because we got a lot to be thankful for. So we thank Samuel for his inspiration on our social media, encouraging people to share something positive. Because over the holidays, I heard people say, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know this was here. Well, we're going to have to come up with a way to show people what all we have to offer. People didn't know Shepherd had an archery range. People didn't know that we had a bowling alley still in Gautier, Mississippi. People didn't know we had a game room. People didn't know Belk's offers a lot more than what you think. So a lot of those people I ran into at Belk's and was bragging on our community. So be thankful for what we have. And Chief, would you like to announce some stuff? Anything positive? You had some positive things happen in your department today, I think?
Yeah, I think the January 16th grant award will be promoted to detective, and Lance and Shipman will be moved to traffic officer, and Marion Lewis will be a traffic officer. So we'll have 2 motorcycles hopefully by the end of this month.
Ooh. Motorcycles, once again, pray. That's going to help with our neighborhood speeding that we just heard from Councilman Jackson. So kudos to you and your staff for those. That brings us to Ms. Yancey. Any comments?
Ms. Montgomery?
Ms. Montgomery, you have anything? Deputy Clerk, you have anything? Y'all have a conference coming up too, so we wish y'all a great time at your conference if y'all are attending also. Okay. Mr. Danos, you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion to recess until January 17th, 2023 at 6? Oh, hold on. Ms. Bilbo, do you want to comment about youth baseball?
Registration is now open for softball, baseball, and t-ball. And it'll close out on the 31st of this month. But if you know of any youth that want to play baseball, softball, or t-ball, have them call Parks and Recreation.
Thank you so much.
For coaches, team moms, umpires, we're looking for everything.
Right. So once again, I encourage you to get involved if you feel the need to be a leader with our youth. You don't have to have children there playing. You can volunteer, or your company can volunteer to be the coach or adopt a team type thing. So please reach out to Chastity Bilbo and her staff. They'll be glad to help you. Do we have a motion to recess until January 17th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Gilat. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Jackson. All in favor? Councilman George?
Yay.
Motion cancels. We recess until January 17th at 6:30.
Motion to cancel.
Sorry. Motion carried.